Monday, which means that's another episode of The Scoop for you to enjoy. Thank you for joining us on Twitch, YouTube, Daily Motion, Twitter, wherever you're watching us. And if you're not watching us live, you might be watching us on IG video, which is great too. So today we're joined with James Perry. He's the creator of the short film Disillusion. He was the writer, director, and producer. So we're going to pick his brain a little bit, but first, let's take a look at the trailer.
Our Father who art in heaven, bless this food to the nourishment of our bodies. Amen.
Everything that's happened to you tonight has been happening to me on the inside.
Awesome. So that was just a little teaser there, just to kind of give you an idea of the film. Let's bring James on and we'll talk more about it.
Hey.
Hi, James. Thank
I'm
you so
fine.
much
How
for
you doing?
joining. Good, good. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine. It's a little chilly. I'm in Baltimore, Maryland.
Okay, yeah. I'm up in Canada, so it's pretty cold up here as well.
Oh, most definitely. I actually look forward to go. I've never been to Canada.
Oh, yeah? Come
hmm
on by. We're super friendly, as I'm sure you've heard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about the film Disillusion in your own words, and also give us an idea of how you got started with filmmaking.
Which one you want first? The Disillusion?
Sure, yeah.
Yes. Well, Disillusion is about, I guess you could say it's a revenge film. Um, that originally I wrote at first when the male didn't have any dialogue, because this is like when I first really got started in film, because I was just working on set and various people's sets and stuff, and then I was just trying to learn. I basically had to teach myself how to write, writing better formats, and we, came to the script of Disillusion, which was originally called The Dinner Guest. It just was like gonna be a revenge film. Then I brought it to the my actor and producing partner on the film, David Kenneth Somerville. We changed the name to Disillusion because disillusion is like disappointment, and then we just build it up from there. So it's like a revenge film, but at the same time, um, it has like the guilty end of a person waking up and feel like they did something. And there's actually also a play on the reverse, like, for example, in the relationships, most of the stuff that Rachel was doing, portrayed by Nicolette Ellis, um, most of the stuff that the character is doing is like reverse. That's why she said, "You hurt me, I'm hurting you. You hurt me emotionally, I'm hurting you physically," and she gets pleasure off of it. So it's kind of a lot of like, it's kind of a it's the funny part about it's kind of a lot of sexual innuendos, because if you ever watch it again with that in mind, you see that she gets pleasure off of his pain, like the reverse situation with women and men having sex. There's always a little bit of pain involved, or they say love is pain. Sometimes pain has pleasure. So there's a lot of physical acting out of that. So that's what the whole process came from that. But on the surface, it's just a revenge film. Anything deeper than that, that's just kind of like writing with a substance behind the whole thing. But that's actually how I got started in film, was Disillusion. Like before then, I was just working on set. I didn't know what SAG was. I didn't know what half of the details was. I didn't know what final draft, the writing. That's my first time using final draft was in Disillusion. Originally I was writing in just regular programs that I found, and I would try to imitate how they write in the script, but I couldn't get the format right. So you kind of can say Disillusion was my start in film, because for like maybe like 2 years I was just kind of bouncing around, with the idea of pursuing film, but I didn't know was it possible until I said, you know what, let me write my script, because I don't think no one's gonna hand me a script as a new director. So let me use Disillusion as the project that I can do to, I guess you could say, put myself on. and fast forward doing like festivals, it kind of, to me, Disillusion kind of took off like maybe like last year, because we had the lockdown with the pandemic. So I started submitting the film out to film festivals, even though I had projects after Disillusion, but I always held that to my heart. Plus, I love thrillers and little things like that, and I wanted to create more of them. So I submitted the film, and then into to get on streaming platforms, like like Watch Fearless, and that basically led us to where we at right now.
Oh, that's great to hear. I love to hear that.
Mm. And to
um,
make a long story long.
yeah, no, that's great. The more details, the better.
Mhm.
Yeah, I did notice. I was creeping your IMDb, and I noticed you definitely wear multiple hats. You write, you direct, you produce. Can you tell me, like, what do you enjoy the most? If you could pick one, if not, that's okay too. But I'd love to hear
Mhm.
why you like to kind of do different things.
I would say directing is one. Um, Writing, I do love writing though. Writing is two. Maybe producing is, I guess producing and writing might go hand in hand, because I kind of do love being hands on with the projects. and and thanks to Disillusion, I had to learn how to produce, because before this I worked on other people's sets, and they seemed like they had a lot of questions and they couldn't get answers. So I wanted to learn more. Like I wanted to learn about, okay, what does gaffers do? What does cinematographers do? What does best boys do? What does the makeup artist? And so I can be kind of, build a relationship with people in the cast and the crew, not just the actors, so I can be more hands on and know what's going on. So I won't kind of be like unfamiliar. Not to say I need to know everything, but at least enough that if someone asks a question, I can at least answer it or point them in the right direction. So I would definitely say directing is first. Um, and the reason why I would say directing is first, because writing is interesting, because even though I love writing, but I think I even like more of like being able to direct someone else writing. That's one of the things I'm looking to
Mm.
get into more of. Even though I write, I would love to bring other people projects to life, and I would put producing as third, because even though I like producing, I do enjoy collaborating with other producers and writers now, because it's bringing more stuff together. I feel like I don't have to do so many things as I used to had to do before. Like I even edited Disillusion. It was my first time using Adobe Premiere. I use DaVinci Resolve now, but now today I'm able to kind of pull away from too much editing. Unless it's something I want to do, and I go back and make little changes and stuff. But outside of that, definitely directing one, writing two, producing three. You know.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense too, because when we start, it's, it feels like we have to produce what we write. If we really want to
Mm-hmm.
tell that story so badly, like someone's got to do it. So it usually ends up being writer, director, producer, but it's
Oh
a great
yeah. You
experience.
might become set designer. You might be set designer doing props. Like for example, those we designed that set. That's somebody's apartment. But what we did was we actually went to like Target and stuff. I'm sure it was a Target in Canada, like a Target, basically like Target, Walmart. We picked the candles out, little things like that, the bed spreads. We bought a lot of that stuff from the store, all the way down to the food. We ordered it. So so in a way you kind of become like props, but it does give you the joy of bringing something to life, of knowing that could be done. Like, oh, I could just go to the store, pick this up. I can go to like this and do this and do that. So when you meet people who do that for a living, you at least aware of how much work that they have to put in, so you're not like oblivious to what's going on. But you definitely have to wear 1,000 hats as you begin. Hmm.
Yeah, totally. And I actually wanted to comment on this later on anyways, but I think playing with the thriller genre, I definitely noticed that you made use of, candles, and she's wearing a red dress, and like all these little symbols that you kind of sprinkled in, and like I think that was really good. I think it worked really
Yeah,
well.
and he wears the opposite color. He wears blue, like a
Yeah.
calming blue. She has like the red. The funny thing is the dress is actually a very hot orange. It looks red because how
Okay.
it's lit. thanks to now this is one thing I didn't do. I did not do the cinematography. Cinematography was written out, but that's why I love the cinematographer on this project, Jared No, because he was able to really like help bring that to life because I had a lot of details in it. Like, oh, this is the kind of, the camera works as far as how it was set up in the script and everything. And so he was really good on that. And we set that whole thing up together as far as from the candles and stuff and bringing that to life. It's all steady cam and stuff. Something I would not try to do that at the same time. Now I have stuff that I did cinematography on projects later on, but I would never touch a steady cam while directing. I feel like that's because you physically moving your body around too much. That's too far. But I do love candles. I love practical lighting. I'm a big fan of Stanley Kubrick. And when I look at his projects like Eyes Wide Shut, how he mixed a lot of his practicals in his lighting, that's one of the things that really inspired the visuals for Disillusion. Well, just all of my projects. I just love how Kubrick films look. To me, the closer your movies can look like film, the better. That was shot on the red at the time, and so it's always great. I try to squeeze any piece of quality we can get for the even if we're on a shoestring budget. Mm-hmm.
Of course, yeah. It just forces you to be more creative, which is really fun.
Oh yeah, there's a little detail at the very end. I think when it shows the clock at the very end. That's like that we actually shot that picture the same day. It was like in a different part of the apartment complex. It was supposed to show them a happier time. It was very light, but here go a little tidbit, I guess you could say. When the movie first start off, if I'm not, it comes on like you see her light, throughout the film, you see her light the whole cigar. And at the very end, when the credits roll, when you hear the giggle, the cigar actually closes right before it cut off. So it's supposed to be like an open close. It's one of them things that nobody would notice unless I point out, but I just thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Just to have a little something there, like the little giggle that she closed it, then you finally hear the sound of the cigar lighter closing.
Yeah.
Like open, grand opening, grand closing,
Cool.
one of those things that only I think about.
Yeah, little Easter egg. That's your writer's brain at work, I think.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Cool. Yeah, I'd love to hear more about your actors and what it was like working with them. It's such an intimate scene, obviously. What was the process like with casting and also with working with them on set?
Well, David Kenneth Somerville was already on deck because he already was acting before I even started doing film. I mean, I was telling him I was doing some writing on a script and everything, just tinkering things out. And then I sent him the script, and he called me back and said, "Hold up, man, you didn't tell me you had a real script. You played it like extra humble." So we went to move forward with the project. We was looking for a Rachel, and just coincidentally, he was filming another project with this filmmaker, Devin. He was filming he was in his film, and the actress Nicolette was in that same film. She had like I think she had I'm trying to figure she had a short hair but she was portraying a certain character in there, and I was like, okay, this girl's nice. And when we exchanged Instagrams, I've strolled through because I always stroll through actors' Instagrams because you can see them do other stuff, see other looks and stuff. That's why I say Instagram is very important with actors because it's kind of like a resume in a way. So even though it might have personal stuff on there, but you can see some great content. So I seen her do a stage play, and she was standing there in a robe, and I was like, we both was like, that's Rachel. That we reach out to her, and at the time, she's from Maryland as well, but she lives in New York. Well, she's currently in LA now, but at the time she was living in New York, and we reached out to her. She agreed to do the project, and we just started working on it. Kind of tinkering the script a little bit more, giving the male character lines finally, and building with there. We even worked with the acting coach, Melvin is the famous acting coach, and we just to kind of just to polish it up and just and pick my brain about certain things with the writing and the characters. Because at the same time, it was a learning process for me. So I like going over that, building certain things. Like he would ask me, is this her house or is it his house? How long they been together? Little things, even though it won't be in the script, but it kind of makes you think like that might play a part on how fast is she opening the cabinets. Little things like that that I was able to even use in the future. So you know, little, I guess you could say little business of actors. So we started rehearsing. We rehearsed the hell out of that film because we actually shot that film in one day, you know, just
Amazing.
from, and we shot it like backwards. It was the daytime, but we blocked out the sun, you know, blocked out the sun, putting stuff in front of the windows, you know, taping the windows up with like black tape so you couldn't see the light come through. And we just shot the film that way. So it was very great to work with so many, you know, such great actors, including the actress Valerie, who made a cameo, who actually plays on like I forgot the name of the police show. I don't want to. It might be Blue Bloods or something. She plays like a cop on that show every now and then. So she had made like a little sneaky cameo in that when she answers the door, you know, when he's trying to, you know, get out it was kind of like a joke because like he's tied up right now, but he really was tied up right now. So I thought that was very interesting. So you know, luckily I'm blessed to be able to build a relationship with so many great performers, you know, because I feel like that wouldn't have happened if I didn't come across if I didn't bring that script to David or come across an actress like Nicolette, because they was like some of the only actors that I met. Like I knew actors before because I was working on projects, but I didn't know like actors that really took it that serious, that was, you know, passionate about it. So so I'm blessed to be able to opportunity to be able to work with them and work with them on future content and stuff. Oh dang, I think I'm in the car. The light must have cut off on me. Oh, hold on. Okay, there we go. Oh, let's see. Okay, can you see me?
That's okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can see
yeah,
you.
I'm literally in the car. Actually, all of you can see around. Yeah.
That's okay. Anywhere,
Mhm.
anytime.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Best,
Yeah,
because I
I
feel like the
really
best
thought
sound.
that
So this most
Nicola.
people be blocking from anyway. What you say? Oh,
Yeah,
sorry about
that's
that.
true.
I cut you off.
No, that's okay. Now I'm cutting you off too. I was just gonna say I thought that Nicolette did such a good job, and that's really cool that you were able to find her. Have you worked with her since then, or do you know what she's up to now? Oh, I can't hear you there, James. Did you bump the mute button, maybe?
No, because I don't think so. Because what about now?
There we go. I can hear you now.
Okay, okay. I think I know what happened. It cut the Bluetooth on in the car.
Oh,
It was trying to switch me over.
that's
Yeah,
okay.
it's crazy. I didn't think that. I didn't know it was going to do all that car technology. Mm.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, but I worked on her. I actually worked on a project in New York with her, called Stiletto Dreams, that she actually written. That was, and that's when that was the project that I ended up producing. So that was our first time having a project actually in the theater. So so we worked together on that, and she did many projects after that. I would like to do another thriller with her. I know she's on the West Coast, but I feel like we both grown since then, in such a short time of creating. You know, it would be nice to revisit like more, new scripts and stuff now, and of course, David as well. He has more projects as well. He has a film, I think it's called About Love, that's on. It's either on I think it's on either Amazon Prime. I don't want to misquote it, but if you type in their name, David Kenneth Somerville, on Amazon, you would his latest film is the project he's in is right on there. I think because I know the name is something something love, but I don't want to misquote it though. It's easy to just type the name in. It a beautiful thing. It'll come up right there.
Cool.
Mhm.
Awesome. Out of some of the other films that you've gone on to do you feel like you have a favorite genre now? Is it thriller? Because I feel like you did that pretty well. So I would definitely love to see more
Yeah,
thriller work from you.
I Yeah, I love thrillers, whether it's thriller, psychological thrillers, or romance thrillers. I would like to do a psychological thriller and a romance thriller. Next, I have a feature film that I written already that I've been kind of tinkering with throughout the last few months that I would like to do that follows. I guess you could say this lean more towards a romance thriller. It follows the story of a informant from their perspective. It's kind of the twist, the thing that I wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to write a perspective, write something from the perspective of a person who's kind of, you could say, might be considered the antagonist. So that's a project. It follows informant and her lover. So I thought that might be interesting, to do. I keep changing the title, but that would be like the next project I would like to do, whether it's before the end of this year or the top of this year. But I'm looking to do at least one more, maybe a short film before then, the kind of a thriller that psychological thriller around Christmas time. So I want to have something before this year wrapped up with, and then start the year off with like some a nice feature. It would be my debut written feature. Like I wrote feature films, but I haven't like created a feature film yet. So right now, it's to get that kind of that title of debut. Maybe that might work out for marketing.
That's great. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's nice to do short films because you get to try out, your ideas in like micro projects, but it'll be great to see a feature film happen. Do you think that you would have started it earlier had there not been a huge pandemic that, kind of put the wrench in a lot of filmmakers' gears? Were you guys doing anything at that time that kind of got thrown off by the pandemic?
Yeah, I actually had a screening and at the a screening coming up at the March, was it March, April 2020, at the Chinese Film Festival that was shut down because of the pandemic. But
Mhm.
I guess the good thing is it did allow time to write more content and create more. And the pandemic that actually allowed me to be able to submit Disillusion and kind of get it out there more because wasn't no theater, so you had to figure out how to get your content out there, streaming and stuff. So yeah, I mean, as much as I love a great short film, I do know you get so much more benefits off of a feature, even like financial gain. Like if someone was backing a film, they'll likely back a feature film because they can do more with it, whether it's distributing, to certain platforms, or selling the film to distributors and doing so much more. The feature film is definitely the major goal.
Of course. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
awesome. Have you ever thought about doing a series? What would you maybe kind of like take an idea that you've already written and extend it a little bit into a format like that? Does that interest you at all?
Hmm. At first, I wasn't interested in a series, but I will probably do maybe a limited series. I don't know if I want to have like 4 or 5 seasons, unless it feels like that. But I wouldn't mind doing like a limited something that's kind of that at least you have like 5 to 7 episodes with. If anything builds from there, that would be beautiful. But I think when I think about a great series that I know they have 3 seasons after. I would say the first season of Stranger Things, like I feel like that show, and I finally watched it with my niece during the lockdown, over at my sister house. So, I think that was like even if they didn't go further past that series, if they would have stopped at season one, you would have been like, oh, that's a perfect series, and it just stops. So I love when limited series kind of end, but because I don't know, right, at least right now, unless it blows up, I can't see me having like 10 seasons of something or five. I don't want to walk and dead myself, but I would like to do a limited series. I can, especially if it's a thriller, that have a like um 30-minute, you know, 5 to 7 episodes. I feel like that would be a great way to get because in a way it's like probably like a couple hour movie when you think about it. Long as it looks like cinema, long as long as it like feels like a movie that you're watching, like a 5 hour movie at least. Mhm.
Right. That's cool. Yeah, I definitely personally gravitate towards those kinds of shows. Thriller is definitely one of my favorite genres. And I think it is really
Mhm.
amazing when you can tie in a good story and that cinematography and make it just look stunning. I'm wondering if
Mm.
there's any shows or movies in general that have kind of inspired or influenced your writing and your directing style.
Um, as crazy as it sounds, I kind of even though there's a lot of new stuff out here, I have a habit of looking at like content that came out before. Like I like to look at stuff like Michael Mann's, you know, the collateral heat, things like that. Of course, Stanley Kubrick, anything from Christopher Nolan, you know, so much of their because because a lot of those directors, of course, write as well, so that's why I like a lot of their content, and it's so intelligent, especially Nolan. Such intelligent writing, and it's probably a few more people. One of my favorite films, and I don't know how much this influenced me. I just love the film so much. I inspired to create something as good as this. Um, I can't remember the name. I think it's Michael something. It's the movie is The Talented Mr. Ripley. That's one of my favorite films. The way how it's crafted, and he's kind of like the bad guy and everything, and that's one of like to me that's like a genius movie. Like Collateral is a genius movie. So when in movies like Eyes Wide Shut is like a genius movie. So a lot of those films, I'm always inspired from the way how it looks, the cinematography, and the feel behind it. It just makes you want to create something like that. Because even new movies that come out now, most of those movies are kind of capturing that same feel that people have. Like you look at The Dark Knight, that's kind of like Heat. And I think
Mhm.
even Nolan mentioned about being inspired by Michael Mann. So it's so many things that some of those movies that you can watch today that still have that same inspiration. But even though today I actually found myself watching more documentaries than movies, you know. But when I watch movies, there's a lot of the older movies that I continue watching the same film and then miss a new movie. Unless it's about Nolan.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Mhm.
as filmmakers, we get kind of picky. So it's a little bit harder for us to watch like films and shows sometimes. Sometimes a nice documentary with just, the truth is really nice.
Yeah. Because you always learn so much, and plus, I don't want to do that one thing people do sometimes. Filmmakers, they'll watch a movie, or I want to make. They'll watch a vampire movie. Say, "Oh, I'm gonna make a vampire movie." Then they'll watch a comedy. I'm gonna write a comedy, and they just got all these unfinished scripts. So what I even try to do as a creator, I try to challenge myself, like I have like a deal or something going on. Like how they would say, "All right, let's get like a rough draft done by Thursday." Because if this was Hollywood, they would do the same thing or something. That way you can
Mhm.
give yourself like a 9 to 5, write until maybe like a few pages, a few hours. Give yourself whatever like blocking time you need to discipline yourself so you can still have your life afterwards. But that's one of the things I end up doing. That's actually how I wrote my feature. I gave myself like a time limit to work on it on certain times of day, not on the weekends, and if it's the weekend, take notes and kind of like I had like a deal going on, and I was able to get through my feature. It was a terrible rough draft, but I was able to go back and clean it up. Because I remember I was watching this thing with all these writers. They were saying get it written and then get it right. So I didn't want to be stuck in my head. So I said, let me utilize that, be able to get through the script and then come back and polish it up. And if I want to give certain dialogues, different personalities and stuff like that. So that's what I end up doing to my advantage. So I think right now I'll be watching a lot of that stuff that I can, learn from a lot of the professionals. Anything I can absorb. Mhm.
That's great. Yeah, I love that. I have also written a few things, and definitely once you have some bare bones on the page, it's very easy to go back in and flesh things out. But It's just getting past that writer's block, that hump of just being like, oh, whatever I type or whatever I write is not going to be good enough.
Hmm. I just keep thinking, looking at how well you're lit. I'm like, I should have did this inside somewhere.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
okay. I've had a few times to practice now. I'm getting better and better. But that's okay.
Oh yeah, it looks
Yeah.
great. Yeah, especially with your where you at, and the whole and the sound and everything.
Oh, awesome. That's great. Yeah, we've been slowly building a great collection of episodes. And I'm so glad that you're now one of them, James. I don't have any more questions for you, but if you'd like to shout out some future projects or shout out your actors again from Disillusion, please feel free.
Um, Definitely shout out to Nicolette Ellis, David Kenneth Somerville, and Valerie Brookshield, and Melvin for Jared No, Danny did the gaffer. He was, and Jay for holding that microphone. I would say new project that I'm working on right now will be the project about the informant. It's currently called Contingency. If the title change, or if I end up on IMDb with a bunch of like Roman numerals, I might change the title. But that's the current title, and if you go on my YouTube channel, I have a project called Feels Like Euphoria on there as well. So that's but yeah, I'm happy to be here, and I definitely appreciate you having me here. That's basically it for me, other than Instagram.com/James.Perry.
Amazing. Yeah, so everyone, please go follow James. And also, please go watch his film on Fearless. It's one of my personal favorites. I hate to be biased, but so please go
Oh
check that
yeah.
out. If you're a new viewer, you can use the code THESCOOP for 25% off your subscription. And thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you, James, and have a good night, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Likewise. You have a great night.